Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Krishna Dhanai, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Copbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going. It's quite hot. I'm like very warm right now because we do not have AC on in our house. Because,
Oh
my wife works in a
boy,
cold environment all day. So when she comes home, I think she wants a little warmth.
does she work in a freezer? Is she a butcher? Is that what she does for a living?
I think any place that has AC on is a cold environment to her. But that also means I'm the one that works at home. So I sit at home in the hot
Oh,
toaster oven for
all
the day
right.
and then go for a walk. So yeah, I'm a little on the warm side, but I got a nice bottle of cold water right now. Sorry guys, no iced coffee.
H2O.
So yeah, we're doing well. We're doing well. But yeah, good weekend. Nothing to complain about. Tons of great wrestling, but we will get into that. How are you doing?
Good, good. Yeah. The weekend was great. It was quick, obviously, as usual. But yeah, nothing to complain about. It had nice weather. It wasn't like Friday night wasn't. It was actually kind of breezy outside. I was like, what's this weather we're getting here? Like
Yeah.
15 degrees. Like I was loving it.
Yep.
And the rest of the weekend, I think it rained a little bit, but overall,
hmm
no, not bad at all.
Yeah. No, it was fine. It was fine. Nothing to complain about. We got
Yeah.
new neighbors next door. They seem to be nice, quiet people, which is always a plus. The last thing I need are partying teenagers or something
Mhm.
like that. But you know what? That's not fair at all. I have teenagers that live two doors down. They're awesome.
There you
So
go.
anyway, yes. So anyway, but what we are here to talk about today is not my teenagers, not raining, nothing like that. It's we're here to talk about professional wrestling, specifically the news of the week. And we're going to look at Krishna's AEW Roundup. We're going to take a little journey over to talk about the greatest promotion in professional wrestling, Stardom, who had yet another pay-per-view that I will be discussing this week. We'll look at things like Utami Hayashishita's little journey into North America and lots more. So, you ready to get into it, Krishna?
Let's do it.
Okay. News this week was a little slow, but we do have an injury update. Willow Nightingale, she has suffered, according to Tony Khan, quote, injuries suffered in Japan, unquote. What the injury is, who knows? How long she'll be out? Who knows? All we know is she was removed from the tournament the other night on Collision, and the match will be made up later. Now, the fact that it's going to be made up probably means Willow's injury isn't terrible. She's not like, broken bones or anything like that. But you wrestle Julia, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, they said that she wasn't cleared yet. They're hoping she's going to be cleared for this for next week's episode, or this week's episode, I should say. Um, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. Like, hopefully, it's not serious. Maybe it is something like
Mhm.
maybe it's something she has to work through. But yeah, I'm just wondering what they're going to do for this because yeah, what if she's hurt? They're gonna either Willow
Yeah.
goes through or they have to replace her, right?
Right. Well, I hope she's not hurt that badly. I hope it's
Yeah.
just something minor that will clear it very quickly. I mean, I was being flippant, but I mean, in all honesty, it's they had one hell of a hard hitting match by all accounts. I have not seen it yet, but apparently it was one hell of a hard hitting match. So those, sometimes those can result in minor injuries. So let's hope it clears up fast and she gets back in the ring. Wheeler Yuta suffered a hamstring injury in his match with Kenny Omega. Now, apparently, it's so far they're saying it's not a full tear, and he will likely return for Blood and Guts.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, no, I heard about that. I did hear that he's hoping to return for Blood and Guts. Yeah, it happens again. This is a contact sport, right? Anyone that says wrestling is fake, like look at all the injuries we keep telling you about. Like these wrestlers are
Mm,
getting hurt. So yeah, I'm glad that Wheeler Yuta is not injured because he's on the rise right now. Like I mean, this Blackpool Combat Club versus Elite thing is just benefiting him so much. So yeah,
mhm.
he doesn't need to miss any of this of the upcoming stuff.
No, definitely not. No, he's been great, and I think too, like it's important to remember too that the reason why I think it just looks like there's more injuries is because of the work rate these guys have now, right? They're not doing, Ted DiBiase versus I don't know, Greg the Hammer Valentine. I don't know. I just picked two random names out of the air. But if you go back and watch like Saturday night's main event or something, yeah, the matches are fine. But I mean, Kenny Omega versus Wheeler Yuta would have been like a
Hmm.
match of the year in that era.
Yeah, it's
All
true.
right. So, the standard's gone way up, but these guys punish their bodies a lot harder. It's kind of like, is it that we demand more of them? Or do they demand more of themselves?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
is it a combination of both? Is it just the natural development of like a sport in this case? Because I don't know. I mean, you look at the baseball players of today. You stick them in the baseball diamond in the 1960s, and they're killing them.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So, I mean, and that might just be the same thing with wrestling, right? It's not like AEW is the only place with injuries. So,
Possible. Yeah.
anyway,
Not
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, and speaking of people who have been semi-seriously injured, Bandito underwent surgery for his injured wrist. The timeline is estimated at 6 months of recovery.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I was not expecting that recovery. That sucks. That
Mhm.
sucks. Bandito is so awesome, even with the best friends and everything like that. Like this one really does suck. So
Yeah, that
Bandito,
means like
just
2024, man.
yeah, get better, man. This sucks. That's terrible. But
I know.
no, get well. That's it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it for the news. You got
Well,
it.
you missed one injury, Bill. There was one
Oh, I
major
did
injury you
I?
missed. Yeah. So just get prepared for this, okay?
Okay.
So MJF on Twitter tweeted, he got some bad news. Was so excited to wrestle Big Bill and Cage this week. Unfortunately, I've come down with something. I'm violently ill. I wish my tag partner and close friend Adam Cole the best. He's like, pray for me and my health. Love you all. And then Adam Cole responded with, Max, STFU, you're coming to TV. So Max said, I guess it's only cool when you get to do it. Ugh, fine.
I love MJF and Adam Cole.
so, so, so ridiculous.
They are.
Absolutely.
They're the best. So yes, you're right. I did miss out on that injury. MJF, all the best. Get better soon,
Get better
man.
soon.
I'm sorry you may have to work sick on Dynamite. So yeah, that's pretty great stuff. That's pretty great stuff. Yeah, there's some people who are saying that this is like a WWE angle.
It's sports entertainment angle.
Yeah.
So if you want to say WWE angle, sure. But guess what? When Chris Jericho is and was a sports entertainer right now, it was
Hmm.
better than anything WWE is doing. Right? So
Yeah.
MJF and Adam Cole are still doing anything better than WWE is doing. So it's like, sure, if WWE had the chance of doing this exact same thing, they'd mess it up. They just mess it
Yes.
up.
Right.
So
It's
yeah.
not Mayu Iwatani being carried to the cage by her partners because she's scared to get into the cage, or
Exactly.
Sakakashima running away from Shuri all the time. Yeah. So we'll have more on that later. Anyway, you have a dirt sheet for us this week tonight?
The only one thing. It's not really a dirt sheet. Actually, this is true. As we know, Brian Danielson is injured. All right,
Mhm.
obviously with broken. I think they said it was
Arm.
broken arm, right? But they
Yeah.
said specifically what was broken, and I'm totally forgetting now. So someone else kind of spoke up and said, I wouldn't mind joining the Blood and Guts match, and that was a Mr. CM Punk. He said that, hey, I would like to join the match. Here's the problem. First off,
Mm-hmm.
the other opponents have been they're already assigned, so they know
Mm-hmm.
he's coming, right? But I listen. Yes, this happened. Do I think it's a terrible thing? No. I actually think, listen, after everything, one thing I have to say is CM Punk is trying here, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to give him credit where credit's due. He has been nonstop trying, and I get why the elite need to do what they're doing. I get that. But hopefully, when cooler heads prevail, this might actually happen. Not this specific
Yeah.
thing, but the CM Punk versus Elite will happen because hey, he's looking like he wants in. Like obviously he's not getting into this one, but what a cool twist, eh? I'd be like, wow, imagine if CM Punk showed up, but it's not. They have someone else. They told, I think someone has, I think it's either Fightful had said they already have the person who's going to be on the Elite side and also the person who's going to be on the Blackpool Combat Club side,
Right.
which all fingers are pointing to a certain Kota Bushi on the
Well,
Elite.
yes. I mean, after what Kenny said
I
during,
know, I know.
so
Yeah, yeah. So I thought this was fun. I didn't actually think this was like a dirt sheet thing. I just thought it was kind of fun. This little story here.
yeah,
But yeah,
It's really interesting 'cause you know what? As much as I've been harder on CM Punk, I'm like
Mhm.
blah blah blah. Do you know where he could rehab really well and be really awesome and fit in perfectly with a heel edge to him is the Blackpool
Oh
Combat
hell yeah,
Club. I
hell yeah,
never even thought of that. He would be
hell yeah.
freaking awesome in the Blackpool Combat Club. He would fit in perfectly, right? He can be an absolute killer in the ring,
Hmm.
right? Not afraid to bleed.
Yeah,
So yeah, he would fit in with these guys. And he's got that attitude, like he's just got like the I don't really give a flying crap attitude that fits in perfectly with the other guys in the Blackpool Combat Club.
yeah.
So I don't know. It would be a great fit. I would love to see it if they could figure out a way to get him on the other side of that match. I would actually be like excited for that. It'd be the
It would
first
be
thing with CM
crazy.
Punk I
Yeah.
would actually be excited to see in a long time. So that's really intriguing. I mean,
Hmm.
kudos to Punk for throwing it out there.
Hmm.
Um, you know, it's nice to see him at least trying and saying, "Hey, I'd be willing to work."
Yeah.
That would be very cool. Maybe this can get fixed over sooner rather than later. I mean, I think the more that they're around each other, and if they're all adults,
Yeah.
hopefully this will get itself solved out nicely. But we'll see. I love the idea, but I mean,
Yeah.
we know we're getting Kota Ibushi on the other side, right? Because
We do that. We know that. It's like the thing is what Fightful was also reporting is simple that from what they're hearing is John Moxley, whom again CM Punk had made those comments about,
Mhm.
was actually kind of to the point where he's like, you know what, what's good for business. Again, the all-star himself is okay.
Yeah.
Him and Jericho, right? They're kind of
Mhm.
just like what's best for business is best for business, right? He's okay. He's going to be okay with that.
Strange
It's
how all three of those guys have worked in the WWE,
yeah. Well,
right? And they all
think about
have
what
the
they went
mentality of
through.
you got to do what you
Yeah.
got to do for the business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the Vince stuff does rub off on you, I guess, a bit,
Mhm.
right? But no, I just thought it was an interesting thing that like, everyone kind of laughed at the story, but in terms of they knew it was going to happen, but everyone said the same thing. You know, it's CM Punk just trying here. He's
Mhm.
trying to. He knows what needs to be fixed, and he's trying to fix
Right.
it. So kudos where it's due there.
Mhm. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about with Kenny after the Rampage show in Edmonton on after the Rampage tapings, he addressed the Edmonton crowd and said he'd give a hint about their mystery partner, talked about going to Japan to recruit an old friend. The friend cares about Omega, the people in the ring, the Bucks and Page, AEW, and about changing the face of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the crowd was chanting Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
So yes, for those of you who weren't aware of that, that's what happened, and that's what we're referring to. So interesting stuff. I am
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to seeing where this goes. Do we still think after that announcement that he loves AEW and blah blah? Do we still think he may turn on Kenny Omega?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like I think it's one of those swerves, right? It's kind of like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what you're getting. But as again, Don Callis is creating a family here,
Yes.
right? So I think this would be awesome. Don Callis brings it like Takeshita, Ibushi, like
Mm-hmm.
this would be fantastic. Because
Right.
my end goal here is Kenny turning on the Bucks because he realizes who his family actually is, and Don Callis gets his prodigal son back. And oh, I would love that. That would be such an awesome storyline
The Kenny Takeshita Ibushi trio. Wow.
versus the Elite. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Take my money. Here you go.
there you go.
That'll be awesome. Yes. Well, that does bring us then to our AEW roundup.
Cool. This roundup for AEW is they had a lot of stuff this week on AEW. Rampage had the rematch, the big rematch of the Elite versus the Dark Order, which again was a really great match. Like I mean, not much more I can say about this. Like these six guys, I thought the standouts for this match was well once again Hangman. I think Hangman's this storyline is just perfect for Hangman. No one does that torn like thing more than Hangman, better than Hangman. And what's his face? I was gonna say Ryan Reynolds, Alex Reynolds. Yeah, like I think like every time I see the Dark Order, someone stands out from them, right? If it's normally it's John Silver. I really like John Silver. But this time, like Reynolds really stood out for me. Him and Hangman going back and forth, and hey, maybe it's Hangman. I can't really say, right? Like maybe it's Hangman. Like that was pretty awesome. I did like the the almost like where Reynolds, not Reynolds, but where Uno and Silver got the elite off the aprons right before Hangman can make the tag. I think it was Hangman. I thought the timing was actually pretty perfect on that. I'm like, wow, what a well put together match. But obviously, the best part of this was when Takeshita showed up. I was like, what the hell? Takeshita's here, right? And I'm like, why's Takeshita here? And then obviously Claudio shows up, gives the uppercut, and the Dark Order win. They beat the elite. I was like, so to me, I'm like, wait. So are we saying the Dark Order are bad guys? Because they're not bad guys. They never did anything wrong, right? Like Paige burned them, so they're upset.
Tell me where they're telling lies.
Yeah. No. Like I enjoyed this match. This was a great match. It just continues the storyline. Like I know Kenny came out, but it means just continues the storyline. Like this is something's. I'm telling you, something's gonna happen at Blood and Guts, and that's I'm excited for that. Matt Hardy, and Jeff Jarrett faced out against Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Did anybody think that Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett were going to win this match? Probably not, right? I think it's funny that Garcia's still playing. Like I guess this is Garcia now, right? He can still be this bad guy. The dance. I love how he has a dancing section. It's so ridiculous. I love it. And like him and Sammy are just so good together, and he kind of steals the win away from Sammy. I'm like, this is cool. Like we know how good they are. This is such a great way of showcasing these young guys. Like put them up against the vets, and the vets take the fall. Like this is so awesome. Like these guys are getting so many reps in. Like again, Garcia, to me, his personality is just shining right now.
Yeah.
Right. If you think about it, like put him and Sammy together. What's Sammy Guevara's personality right now? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Are you a good guy? I guess you're trying to be a good guy, but it's Garcia's just shining. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the match itself was okay. It was nothing to write home about.
But you're dead on Garcia. The guy is like, every time he's on the screen right now, he's awesome. I mean, this whole thing with the Jericho Appreciation Society has made him. Before that, he kind of had like, great in the ring. We really like him, but personality. But he has found a character. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's awesome. Pretty great.
No, it's awesome. Awesome. Shida and Shafir like was pretty good. Okay. It wasn't. It was okay. Let me take it back. It was okay. There was a botch here and there, but it was okay. The reason I'm even talking about this match is because I accidentally watched Hey EW when Shida was on it. I guess I must have missed that one. And she was just talking, and she's so different. Or maybe they don't let her use her personality on like TV, but like so welcoming. She's a TV star. I didn't know that. She was an actress who went into wrestling, and then what's his face? I'm forgetting his name right now. The host. He's like, wait, you're doing this backwards. You're supposed to go from wrestling to TV and movies. You did it backwards. And she's like, oh, I was in a wrestling movie, and that's how I got into wrestling. I was like, what? Right? So she was an actual actress, now turned wrestler.
Well, welcome to Japan.
Who would have thunk it?
So a lot of them start in like the entertainment industry and end up as wrestlers.
Does the entertainment industry not pay enough for them, or what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Anyways, I mean, I thought it was like that was pretty cool, and she was talking about like what she's acted in, and RJ said he's like he actually had a list of all the movies and was going through it. It's actually a pretty funny segment. I liked it. And then the last match, Brian Cage and Big Bill versus Beretta and Seidel. This was almost I was gonna say this is like classic David versus Goliath, but it's not, because the Goliaths just like dominated these guys. But it makes sense. It makes sense. Like I actually like this match. I like the way it went. I liked how Cage and Big Bill were actually just like, they were, you know what? I have to give Cage credit. This guy sells so good. Like, my God, some of the moves that I think was Seidel when he hit him, like he gets it, and he
Mm.
can actually like it's like when Keith Lee like eats the Canadian Destroyer. Like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Same thing, Bill Big, Bill Big, Brian Cage. Like, I totally think him and Big Bill are really cool together. I actually like them together. But I mean, I know this is the tag team eliminator match, whatever. But yeah, that was Rampage quickly. I'm gonna quickly do Collision, just quickly run through it. I must say, I do actually like the way Collision starts. It makes it feel different
That's true.
from Dynamite. I really do. Like the little segments they do right at the beginning before they even play the music or anything. Like they all do the promos. I was like, oh, this is actually like I like it. It makes it feel different altogether. Kudos to Will Hobbs for kind of wearing like a Heart Foundation outfit. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was obviously Heart Foundation. I was gonna say Owen Hart, but I'm like, nah, more Bret Hart, I should say. Kind of wore that. A Punk starts up like the like he comes out after his promo and he cuts a promo. Came out to no music actually. The weird part, but what I like, and this is again giving, as much as I had my reservations about CM Punk, and I still do, he really does. You could tell he's trying to like better AEW, right? Like he came out, talks about his Samoa Joe match, and then says, "But I can't look past the other guys. I can't look past the Ricky Starks. I can't look past the Powerhouse Hobbs." He's hyping these guys up, right?
Yep.
And just like it feels good because, as you probably heard what happened to Malachi Black recently, where he said, "Hey, I want to wrestle on Collision." Right, because I don't want people to think, oh, the House of Black is going to show up. He's like, no, I want people to know where we're going to be. And I'm like, you know what? I like that. I actually do like that because we get to see you more often now, right? So kudos to Punk for getting everyone involved. The Ricky Starks Powerhouse Hobbs match again. You know me, I'm not the biggest Ricky Starks fan. I do like Powerhouse Hobbs. QTV, they were getting QT Marshall and his gang were kind of getting involved. I guess, okay, so Ricky Starks wins the match, but this is where I'm a little confused. So Hobbs is angry. So is he good now? Did we see a face turn for Powerhouse Hobbs, or is he just still angry?
I think that's where this is going.
Okay. So same. I'm thinking a face turn, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess the Book of Hobbs didn't really go anywhere. Right?
Perhaps the Book of Hobbs includes the face turn. Who knows?
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah.
But I listen. I think Hobbs, and again, like he's talented. I think we need to see more of him. It's just weird. I mean, you're right. Maybe it is going to be Hobbs versus the QTV, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what that's going to be. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. The match stuff is okay. Finally, Miro said something.
Miro said things.
Miro said and this thing, it's coming up to Miro said things. The one thing he did kind of like, he talked about Lana and whatever, but the one thing he did say was there is a match we've all been talking about that is going to happen between him.
Yes.
And for the life of me, I have no clue what he's talking about, unless you do, right?
Well, I don't, but you just reminded me, once you're done your AEW report, we didn't talk about Fight Forever.
Oh, we did not talk about Fight. Okay, we will talk about that. Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
All right,
no, don't take your time. We'll get there. But
apparently, there's a fight that we want from Miro that never happened. That's going to happen. I don't know. Anyway,
I can't think of a single fight I ever wanted Miro to have that didn't happen. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good, Miro. I'm good. You go find another fight.
Yeah, exactly. Then came the match that actually surprised me, but I didn't know why it surprised me because it shouldn't have. Bullet Club Gold versus FTR.
Oh, this was great.
This was a really good match. This was a really, really good match. Like everyone complained about Switchblade, right? Jay White. He wasn't getting put in the spotlight. He wasn't getting pushed to the moon. But when you watch this guy in the ring now, I'm like, God damn, he really does need to get pushed to the moon because like he is great. Him and Juice together.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
So good. And my favorite part, they won this match.
Yes.
They beat FTR. And people will say, oh, well, they did it in their heel ways. They're a heel team.
It's Bullet Club. What the hell do you want from look, the uncontrolled nature of Juice Robinson, just wacky, unpredictable, slightly insane with the collected, methodical Switchblade.
So
They
good.
make such a good team together. Seriously.
This is why what's it called, Jay White as the leader of this Bullet Club Gold, even
Mm-hmm.
with the guns with them, it makes sense now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Him
Mm-hmm.
being the face of Bullet Club Gold, like I want them to win the belt. I really do. I want them to beat FTR because I don't care for FTR right now. Like I'm like, FTR, you're good, but you're getting kind of boring for me right now,
Well, yeah,
right?
their matches are great, but their characters are, yeah, they're okay.
They're okay.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're
They're
there.
okay. They're not a Switchblade. They're not a
No,
Juice Robinson,
no.
right? And they're not. I'm sorry. They're not even a goofy gun club. Okay, because they're now that they're with the Bullet Club Gold. I'm like, you know what? This makes
I
sense.
know it's the best the Gun Club has ever been in
No,
AEW.
it makes sense.
I know.
So yeah, fantastic match. Absolutely fantastic match. And then shout out to Scorpio Sky. He's back, right?
Yes. Don't
um
get me started about Scorpio Sky, okay? We're gonna talk
oh
about
no, oh
Scorpio
no.
Sky.
Okay, so Scorpio Sky is back. We love Scorpio Sky.
Yes, we do.
And hey, if you want to showcase a match Krishna loves, you put Action and Andretti and Scorpio Sky together, right?
Yeah.
And you get all the stuff that I love in matches. I thought this match was fun. It had all the wrestling I love. I'm a little concerned about Action Andretti now because he is becoming just a mid-card jobber because
Yes.
he beats Chris Jericho and then nothing happens.
Yeah, he's just there to put on good matches with guys who need to be put over.
Yeah, and I get it. It's kind of like it's like what's happening with AR Fox with Darius Martin and Action
Well,
Andretti in some cases.
he's the new Dante Martin. They're using
Yeah,
him in all the spots they used to use Dante Martin.
Dante's coming back soon, so I'm assuming that's just like a on hold until Dante gets back. Is what my assumption is. But yeah, welcome back, Scorpio Sky. I haven't again. We have no idea where you've been. Like I'd love for someone to say what happened.
Yes.
But hey, who knows, right? And then the final match, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk.
Yeah.
The match again, and people know I'm not the biggest CM Punk wrestling fan there is.
Right.
I've been really impressed with Samoa Joe. I love Samoa Joe now. I love his character is perfect. Match started a bit slow. Your shots, your chops, whatever. I love the walkaway spot, the Joe walkaway spot.
Yes.
Punk goes up and just Joe just walks away from his attack.
Yeah.
Then Joe started the offense, and when Joe started his offense, it almost felt like CM Punk was the total underdog here. Whatever he did, Joe had an answer to it, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing he could do that would help him win. Finally, he wins with a surprise roll up. Now, this is where I'm like, I get this ending because yes, it does keep Joe strong because he was winning throughout the entire match, right? He won through the entire match, and CM Punk kind of just like pulled out the win out of nowhere, right?
Yep.
So I guess it keeps Joe strong. There could be a match down the line. I love the ending where like Samoa Joe extends his hand to shake CM Punk. I'm like, really, Punk? Really? Are you seriously gonna do this? Wrestling 101 here, guys. So he shakes his hand and then immediately into the Coquina clutch. And I'm like, yep. That's what I thought. I was like, this is Samoa Joe. So I mean, at the end, it like Collision went off with basically Joe still strong, but Punk advancing. Right? Punk gave the whole speech about, I'm not about was it superstition or anything. And saying when he touched the Owen Hart trophy.
Yeah.
Punk's gonna win this competition. We know it's gonna happen. Like
More than
it
likely,
is.
yeah.
But again, credit where credit's due. He's building it up to something more than it is, right?
Yep.
So listen, I know people were complaining about the numbers not doing well where they were, but like I mean the show itself is not that bad. Like it's really not that bad.
They've got some good stuff there. Yeah, no, I mean it's for me it's B because you don't have like the Elite and BCC on it, but solid stuff. I mean Samoa Joe and like to me that ending was perfect.
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Punk should beat Samoa Joe with a roll up
Agreed.
because Samoa Joe is going to kill him. I mean, that goes back to their whole feud,
That's
right?
what he was saying.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Joe wins a lot against Punk or beats the crap out of him, So yeah, it's pretty typical. So that was a good ending to it. But the FTR Bullet Club
Well,
Gold
couple.
match was the match of the show.
Oh yeah,
So if you're going to check out
definitely.
one match, check out that
Check that one out.
match.
Agreed.
Very good,
100%.
very good. But Scorpio Sky there, yes, my new nemesis. Yeah. So I played some Fight Forever.
All right. Let me hear
Yep.
about this.
Okay. So of course I immediately went into the creative mode, created my
Hmm.
wrestler,
Hmm.
Mai Narita. She's from Japan.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
All
Spent some
right.
time
Okay.
giving her moveset. Now, this means essentially I've only played Road to the Elite. I did not bother just jumping in because I'm gonna
Okay.
let me start by qualifying. I am not a combat games guy. Okay. Like
Fair.
Krishna knows this about me. I don't play Street Fighter. I didn't play Mortal Kombat. I
Ooh.
just, those are, I like the ones like Double Dragon where it's like, you're fighting with someone else and you go through a
Hmm.
lot of stuff. But anyway, I digress. I wasn't a big player of those games. I could play them sometimes with friends and they would be fun, but I'm not going to sit by myself and play Street Fighter, right? Not my thing.
Fair.
So a wrestling game has to be more than just wrestling because I will get bored very fast in one-on-one matches because I don't care enough, right? If I want to watch wrestling, I'll go watch wrestling. So I am a role play gamer. Okay. My favorite games of all time are things like Dragon Age and Skyrim. And when I do that, I sit down and I think about the character. I did the same thing here. Who is this wrestler, right? Where'd she come from? I have like a backstory for her, right? I'm like, so this is who she is, right? You get to pick her when you create your own. First of all, let me start with the creative suite. It's okay. It's
Yep.
pretty damn limited. What
For
I
now. Yeah.
don't like is it does not tell you why you can't use certain pieces of the outfit. Like it doesn't say your necklace is blocking this outfit or something like that, right? First of
Hmm.
all,
Hmm.
things can be blocked and a lot of things can be blocked. Secondly, the options for ring attire are so limited, right? Like really, really limited. And when you do find things that are a little more elaborate, like more stardom type outfits, the colors are locked because they're for like Jade Cargill or Red
Hmm.
Velvet or someone like that, right? And it's like the colors are all locked for those specific wrestlers. Well, then, like, would it really have been hard to put some like more outfits with more colors on them in there? I mean, it sounds picky, but for those of us who like to make sure our wrestlers are like, I have spent hours in the WWE creative suites creating wrestlers, right? Right down to like lines on their outfits and stuff. But you can't do that here. You basically got very limited options of what to do. So for me, I'm kind of like, oh, you know, they stuck makeup under face paint. It took me forever to find. I'm like, well, no, she doesn't paint her face, but apparently that's also makeup. Weird. Anyway, so yeah, once I got through all that, okay, the moves, there are 7 million moves. God
Hmm.
damn, I wish they'd sorted them out
Hmm.
better because I've learned to use the favorites list very early. So I just went through the whole list and favorited things I thought she would use and then went to the favorites to add them in and stuff. Great, no problem. Love the moves, great move sets. Entrance, my God, is that limited? I was so disappointed with the entrances. So disappointed with the entrances, right? I mean, I want something a lot more elaborate than this. Now, granted, I get where they were going with this game. This game is meant to be an arcade style pick
Yeah.
up and play. And as you've said to me a few times, this is your kind of pick up and play games. I don't play pick up and play games. That's totally not my style of gaming. So I'm like, where's my elaborate entrances? I want to set camera angles. I want to I want to like time the pyro right and stuff. I think it's kind of cool. I can set the pyro, but I can't see the pyro.
Yeah.
What the
Oh,
hell use is there?
hit L1 and
Mm-hmm.
it changes your view of the person coming in, so it'll zoom out. So and then this is another thing. It doesn't tell you these
No, I'm
things.
like, are you serious? Are you telling
Yeah.
me this right? Because I have been on the close up for the whole thing the whole time.
Yeah.
But again, it's 3 seconds long. So who
Yeah.
gives her?
So it doesn't
Her
matter.
theme music barely starts and the entrance is over. It's like I spent so much time finding the right theme music and you hear none of it. Now, there are some good options for the creative wrestler theme musics. I mean, it's not just a bunch of generic, Rock 101 stuff. So I thought that was cool. Kudos to them for that. But yeah, creative suite, I give it a C minus. Not a good creative suite at all. I still got a decent wrestler out of it. So great.
Okay.
So naturally, I hop into Road to the Elite. Okay, now you warned me ahead of time. You were like, it's kind of boring. Now, I enjoyed it a lot because when you create a wrestler, that wrestler has nothing. One finisher, one signature, right? And no abilities at all to speak of. And you got to learn and grow. I think that's really cool because that's more of an RP thing, right? Like I want to grow my character. I want her to develop and blah, blah, blah. Great. So I start playing. I add some strength to her momentum. I add some stuff, blah, 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 right? That helps. So like her momentum builds really quickly in matches. Did my first 2 matches on easy, actually won the fatal 4-way right out of the gate, became the women's champion, won my second match. I'm like, oh, this is like, but I was getting kind of bored. I'm like, I'm just winning these matches like crazy. It's like so simple. So I put it on normal. I then barely won a match, and I'm like, okay, that's a little more challenging. I'm good. And then immediately in the pay-per-view, lost the title in the next fatal 4-way because I was hung up on the rope when the pin happened. So yeah. And then in that pay-per-view, they then go, so someone comes in and is like, I'm injured. Can you sub for me in my match? And it's, I even forget who it was. And I had to fight Scorpio Sky and then lost again. I'm like, I get it. I fought a match already, but seriously, and I had him dead to rights, but no, pins him in the ropes. I fucking rope breaks. I hate rope breaks. Anyway, pins him in the rope. So I hit the finisher, even got the pin off with the finisher, which is because of course her finisher is like a Kishi Kasai basically. So gets the pin with it. Nah, rope break. And then he comes back and kills me with his finisher and pins me. So yeah, that was the end because of course she has no endurance to speak of and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it gets killed pretty damn easily. Great. And then Scorpio Sky challenges me yet again to a match on Dark. But I felt like it was I could see what you mean by it's the same thing over and over. Like you have 4 turns, but nothing happens.
Yeah.
You do workouts, maybe someone walks in, maybe they don't. You go for food because you got to rebuild. Like you just have to, it's all like micromanaging your meters and spending some coins. And then you might get a bonus match on Dark, but the reasons for the match on Dark aren't there. This is all to say, my criticism is it's lacking story. There is story, but it's like really basic story. And I'm a role player. I'm the kind of guy who, when I'm playing a role playing game, I am the one who reads the lore books. I'm the one who talks to every single person and hears what they have to say. I think through my character, how they react to stuff, right? Is this in character with this character? That kind of stuff, right? Like, for me, it was kind of like, I don't get those opportunities. It's just the same stuff. I don't even get to choose what she might say or anything. And like, that's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't feel like role playing to me. It just feels like, okay, the whole point to this is to do wrestling matches. Well, it's a wrestling game. That makes sense. But I mean, I just feel like I'm having to grind to add stats. And that's not story. That's grinding to add stats, which I don't love.
Yeah.
So I would have to give the Road to the Elite a solid B. It's fun to build up the wrestler, but it's not so fun. Like it needs a lot more story. It needs so many more things to happen, like match things that happen and stuff, like things like interventions in matches. Like WWE kills them on this in 2K games, right? There's all kinds of random events that will happen during your like story. And I love manager mode in thing too. I just want to run Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that, right? Like I just want to run I just want to run like Dynamite and Collision and Rampage, and I want to put the matches together, and I want to like govern the feuds and play the matches I feel like playing and that kind of stuff, right? Like that's what I want to do. I don't have that option either.
No.
So plus you can't edit the roster. I can't take wrestlers out of the roster and say, I don't want this guy on the roster. I don't want this guy to show up anywhere. No, sorry. They all have to show up. Like if they're a wrestler, they're on the roster, which I also strongly dislike. It means I can't customize my own league. which
No.
I want all the customization available to me possible because, again, I'm a role player. It's how I like to play, right? I want it to be my league with my stuff. I don't care about it being AEW's league. I care about it being mine, right? This is my wrestling league. And it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like I'm being forced into certain things, right?
Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So I like the game. I think playing it with other people would be a lot of fun. I would get killed every time because I have a
Mm.
hell of a time with the controls still. They're way, oh yeah, there you go. Controls. Way better than 2K games. Still pretty damn complicated for me, believe it or not. I have a hell of a time trying to do anything resembling a reversal. My reflexes are non-existent.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The
So
reversals are
yeah, I'm terrible. I got to set it back down to easy because I'm having no fun at all on normal. I'm just getting killed constantly. I think until I get better. I actually have trouble hitting my finisher because trying
mm,
to get them up and then grapple them before they punch you in the face is really annoying, right? Like the number of times I've lost my momentum meter is just stupid,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, trying to actually hit my finisher and then trying to time the pin so you get the pin out of the finisher, I find a little bit annoying, but it is very easy to pick up and just punch people down. Dave Meltzer
Yeah.
hates me in the game. I kept getting 1.5, 2-star matches. So, my title win was like a 3.5-star match, but after that, it was like nothing. Like, nope,
Yeah.
hates me. Nope, this wrestler sucks. 1.5 stars. I'm like, 1.5 star. It's 1.5 stars.
Yeah, it's weird because you know what? That's the interesting thing you said there because I really do treat the wrestling game like a sports game. You know what I mean? Like in terms of pick up and play, and I'll play if you look at my stats right now, I played like 160 matches,
Holy
right?
God.
Right? Because I just
Yeah.
have fun going in and I'm playing. I've actually edited Kenny Omega like three times already, right? By the way, he has other costumes. If you ever want to try it out, you have to go in and do it yourself.
Yep.
It's really stupid. But yeah, you're right. I'm with you. The game's lacking. Like it's really good for a pick up and play game, but the substance isn't there, right? And for
Mm-hmm.
everything you said about it has all this stuff, it always seems to be lacking. It's like, okay, great, you have all these moves, but then you look for a specific move, and you're like, okay, see, you don't have this move of all the moves that you don't have. Okay, great, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it has all the wrestlers, but you look at you don't have this wrestler. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I do give like I have to say, when Tony Khan came out and tweeted the game is ready, and the developer tweeted and said, well, we have a different opinion on what ready means, right?
Yeah.
We should have realized that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can this game evolve into something better? Yeah, down the road, I do see it. But when I played through Road to the Elite, and I'm like, this can't be what all wrestling games are like. Because even WWE 2K games, I would only like play the matches because all I do was want to play the wrestlers I like and play matches and stuff like that. And when I never tried their actual manager mode or anything like that, right? So I'm again just
Mm-hmm.
touching like the tip of the iceberg here. So when I tried this one, I was like, man, what the hell is this? Right? It's the
Yeah.
same things you're doing over and over again. I do like the video packages they give, though. I did like that. I'm like, oh, it's giving you the history of
Yeah,
AEW
that
here.
was
That's so
cool.
cool.
That's cool.
That's actually
Yep.
pretty cool. But I can see that getting stale after a while because the first time you said it, oh my god, this is really cool. Then you're like, okay, this is like the
Mm-hmm.
10th or 20th time I'm seeing it. But I'm with you. It's like the controls are easy enough, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some complications. I do always feel like the controls, like the button presses, are just like I don't know, a split second off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not even like 1/10 of a second off. Where I'll hit a button and then I can actually see the person grapple. Whereas I'm expecting the button hit and the person grappling, right?
Right.
So it seems a little bit off. And then these are things that can be tweaked. But every time I say I love this, it's just like I watched the product. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, here's Malachi Black. Where's the rest of the House of Black? Okay, well, here's this person. Okay, but where's Samoa Joe? Here's this person, but where's everybody else? And I get it. It's like we have Scorpio Sky, who was away for almost a year. We have
Yes.
Scorpio Sky in the game,
Don't talk to me
and
about Scorpio
and
Sky.
and that's the thing. Every wrestler here is
Yep.
doing things they would have done a year ago. So
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole, bad Adam Cole a year ago. If you play as Adam Cole, there are a few heel things he does, and I'm like, that's not what Adam Cole does
Well,
right now.
did you get to the how much Road to the Elite did you play? Did you get to the Dark Order storyline?
I don't know if we played the exact same thing, but I
Because I
finished
know
it.
you get
I
thrown
finished it.
you okay, well you get thrown into different
Yeah.
tracks depending on
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens. So I lost the fatal four-way. So then
Okay.
John Silver shows up at like when I'm exploring the sites, and he goes into this whole like spiel about joining the Dark Order, right? You know, we could have helped you,
Mhm,
but he's being like creepy bad guy John Silver,
mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Instead
and
of
he's not.
like the guy he is now, still a little bit like, you know, toilet humorish John Silver, but I mean he's being creepy bad humor John Silver, right? And so it's clear the Dark Order is still being
Well,
billed as like total heels at
y-
this point,
and
right?
even their entrance, they have those guys at the back then, right? I
Hmm.
took it out. I'm like, no, they don't come out like this. So I removed them from the. So
Yeah.
you can. That's a good thing. You can edit
Hmm.
entrances. Like
Yeah.
Kenny's entrance has the sweeper girls, right?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. After a little bit, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. So I actually
Hmm.
removed the sweeper girls from his entrance, which I appreciate. But you're right. I mean, overall, for me, and you're right. The way we play it is totally different.
Yep.
I can see where you would say this game is fully lacking, right?
Yeah.
Whereas even I'm saying it as a pick up and play person, I'm
Yeah,
even saying the
exactly.
same thing,
Yeah.
right? So the game is lacking. Am I having fun with it? Yeah, I played 160 matches. Of course, I'm having fun with it, right? But if I'm trying to really get into a game and play it for like the story, this is not the game I'm playing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I still need to build my poor person up, right? I mean, so I'm going to
yes,
have to play a lot more Road to the
road to the
Elite.
elites.
But the problem is, too, is that I can't then take that character and transfer her online to exist in your game. So if
Yeah.
we played, I could use her,
And
right?
that's it. It's one of
Hmm.
those kind of like these are the things that AEW has to think about. Like maybe open up a community where people can transfer their game saves.
Right. I would like to be able to upload her and then be able
Yeah,
to download her onto your system.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That should be
So that I could play her in your system with the stats I gave her
yeah,
working in my Road to the Elite.
yeah.
I can't.
Well,
So,
that's because they made it as you have to have the stats, right? So you have
mhm.
to work for those stats. Whereas at WWE, you just give them everything you want to give them,
Right.
and that's it.
Which I kind of like as well, because, you
Same,
know, yeah.
same.
I mean, if you want to, because I have the choice now. I could start the character low and build them up and say, okay, so at this point in history, right?
Mhm.
Blah, blah, blah. I also would rather have a perpetual road to the elite, right? I don't want an end to
Yeah,
it. And they get to the pay-per-views way too fast, right? Like my complaint about the WWE version was sometimes it felt like it took forever to get to the
mhm.
pay-per-views, right? But this, it's like, holy crap, like two dynamites and you're there.
Yeah,
Like,
and that was it, right? It got to the point where it was like for me, it actually felt a lot longer. To the point where like legit, when I saw the pay per view, if it said other matches, I'm like, no, I'm just doing the pay per view. I'm like, screw this, I'm not
you
doing
almost
anything else.
have to. You're running out of
Yeah,
energy. You know,
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't
yeah,
matter how much stuff you accomplish. I mean, if you keep doing other matches, you are going to run out of stats, or you're going to be spending all your coins on regenerating your stats.
the game is a bit. I'm not gonna say okay, it's glitchy. It's a little bit glitchy. Like for example, I unlocked the. It's called the King of Hearts,
Mm-hmm.
which means after you complete 100 matches, you're supposed to unlock Owen Hart. But guess what? I didn't play regular one-on-one matches. I played a lot of like lights
Mm-hmm.
out. I played the Falls Count Anywhere. I played the bar like exploding barbed wire match. Right? Those other matches don't count towards the 100 unlock for Owen Hart. I'm like, but you gave me the trophy that says King of Hearts, but you didn't give me the actual character. I just find these like little things so annoying. And then I looked
Mm-hmm.
up online, people were like, no, actually, it's one-on-one specific matches, so you have to go on. And then eventually, once you unlock him, it actually says like player unlocked, right? You have to buy
Right.
him still, but player unlocked. And the one thing I like is that you do have enough money to buy. Like I bought the entire store. Like there's nothing, nothing I can't buy. The money is really easy to come by as long as you're playing. Um, and I do appreciate the editing of the existing wrestlers' move sets because there were some moves that if you actually start playing once you start playing a lot more characters, you notice some of their moves are all kind of standard. And you're like, why would you give this move to this person, right? So like for Kenny, I changed one of his like strong grapples in the back to the poison rana because I'm like he
Mm-hmm.
does that, right? But they kept giving him were the German suplex, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why would you put multiple German suplexes for the same thing? Like you can at least split it up and give him. So I gave him the poison rana because he does that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I'm just building him to the best omega I can get, right?
Right.
So that's why I figure eventually it's gonna happen is I'm gonna start like watching like more I watch the product, I'm gonna see moves that's not associated with that character, and I'm gonna put it into the characters. That's my goal, just to
Mm-hmm.
update them so that they're finally my roster, right?
Right.
So
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get there someday.
You will. You will.
Yeah, someday. Yeah, so overall, I would give this game a solid B to B minus.
I think it's fair. I actually think that's a from what you're playing, like the way you're playing
Hmm.
it, I think that's a higher score that you're giving it there,
Well, I
right?
don't hate it. Like,
No, but I think if you had said C, I'd be like, I understand. I get
yeah,
it. Right?
yeah. I mean, I tend to be pretty generous too, right? Like, I think to myself, yeah, I'm still having some fun.
Yeah,
I
fair
haven't
enough.
played enough, I think. I mean, maybe the grade goes down the more I play. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe it
Or
goes
up.
up
Yeah.
or up. Yep. So it could
Or
go
up.
up too. We shall see. And I think it'll be very interesting when you and I finally get a chance to play together at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the kind of game that you can have a lot of fun with friends with.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm
so
looking
much
forward to
fun.
that as well. But moving on now to our main event of the evening, because we do have some stuff to talk about from Japan. We have the journey down Bushi Road, so to speak. Very quickly with New Japan, G1 Climax begins in 5 days. Okay, that's New Japan because we have Stardom to talk about, and we are going to start off today with Stardom to talk about Utami Hayashishita, my wrestler of the week from last week. Well, during the pay per view on July the 2nd, she actually relinquished leadership of Queen's Quest after their match. She said she still thinks, she did not do well as the leader, didn't set a good example, that kind of thing. And she told, to the total surprise of the members of Queen's Quest who were there, she will be leaving to go and find herself. So, and she trusts them to take care of Queen's Quest while she's gone. So, what that means is she went to North America. So, I did watch Utami Hayashishita versus Billie Starks from GCW Cleanup on July 8th, 2023. Starks has some experience working in Japan. She worked in Tokyo Joshi Pro for a little bit. This match had a lot grappling, great forearm exchanges, back and forth German suplexes, pin attempt rolls. Utami gave Billie a ton in this match, right? And sold like crazy. Utami's a great seller. Billie worked mildly heel in this. I'm not going to say totally heel, but just very mildly heel. There was some Billie chants, but this crowd loved them some Utami. So yeah, she hit the gory bomb at one point for two, tope suicida. Utami hit a superplex, but Billie reversed the roll through into a brainbuster for two, and she nailed. The end came though when Billie hit a tombstone for a near fall, then went for her swanton bomb, but Utami got her knees up and landed the Argentine rack power bomb for the three. It was a pretty short match. It was really good. Utami made Billie look like a star, and she came out looking tough as heck. It's not the best Utami match I've ever seen in my life, but it was good. Definitely worth checking out. Billie Starks is great. Like, I can't say enough about this girl. I don't understand why she's not already
I
signed in
know.
AEW. Like, hello. Anyway, but that then brings us to Stardom Mid-Summer Champions, which happened on July the 2nd. I'm not going to go through the whole card. I am going to talk about three matches because they were the last three matches on the card. There was some good stuff before it. I would recommend watching the entire show. Every match on it was, if not good, great. But the three I'm going to talk about, we begin with Saki Kashima, the champion, taking on Fukujin Death for the High Speed Championship. Now, if you had told me ahead of time Fukujin Death in a match with Saki Kashima is going to be a really fun match, I would have said, you're crazy because it's Fukujin Death. I don't hate Fukujin Death. She's very good in the ring for what she does, but sometimes her character can be a little much. But let's keep in mind that Saki was kicked out of Oedo Tai on June the 25th, and she now fights alone, and Fukujin Death is a member of Oedo Tai. And Saki had her ass absolutely handed to her a few days before, by Tekla, who beat the living crud out of her in a non-title match and then asked for a title shot. And Saki said no. So, because Saki Kashima is awesome. And Tekla beat her up some more and called her a shitty bean sprout. That's very mean. Anyway, so Saki is seemingly on her own, no friends. She looked worried and sad facing her friend and tag partner going into this. Most of Oedo Tai was in Fukujin's corner, including their leader, Natsuko Tora. And that was the story. Oedo Tai doing everything they could to help Fukujin Death beat Saki Kashima. Saki offered to shake at the start, but Death just screamed at her. I mean, this went back and forth. It was a very fast match. Like She gets tossed out of the ring at one point, and Oedo Tai mercilessly beats her down in front of the ref. It's like they're like dogpiling the poor woman, and the ref's just standing going, "Don't do this." Like, really, dude? Really? Like, isn't that a DQ? But anyway, Saki fires up, but every time she gets the advantage, Oedo Tai is there. They break up a top rope dive. They pull the ref out when she hits the Kishikasai, but she finally gets a Kishikasai in the center of the ring. Ref counts the 3, and she overcomes Oedo Tai to keep her title. But it's the real part. The match is always good. And I'm not gonna like be like, oh, the match was so amazing. No, it was good, but it wasn't like phenomenal. It was the aftermatch stuff that was great, because Oedo Tai pummels the living crap out of her after the match. So they hold her and tell a fairly reluctant because Fukugen Death and her were tag team partners and friends, right? They tell her to beat her down, and Fukugen looks a little hesitant and then beats her down. So they all go nuts on her until, to make the save, are Shuri and Ami Sourei from God's Eye. They come out and clear Oedo Tai out of the ring, and Shuri, the person who Saki Kashima is deathly afraid of in the entire world, saves her ass. It was pretty great. So what happens at that point is, right, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Saki was like always scared to hell of her. Saki tells Shuri, thank you, and then begs her to join God's Eye. And Shuri says, really? And Saki's like, yes, I want to be Shuri's goldfish poop. That was the translation. And Shuri says, I understand. And she says yes and lets Saki into God's Eye. And then Saki immediately yells, yes, I don't have to fight Shuri anymore. And then Shuri like gives her a smack upside the head and goes, what are you talking about? Because, hey, those team members will fight each other, right? Like I told you, they're kind of like the good guy, heart and soul Blackpool Combat Club. All right. So they all leave together, though, Shuri and Ami helping Saki to the back. So Saki Kashima is now a member of God's Eye, and I am really intrigued to see where this story goes. This is really cool. I mean, I love Saki Kashima, and to have her with God's Eye in the way that it happened, that is very cool. Putting her with the person she is most afraid of in the world, in Shuri, it's hilarious. I love it. So, yeah, and of course, Natsuko Tora was yelling at Shuri, going, what, you want her? Are you kidding me? This loser? Right? So this is obviously going to go somewhere too. Then we had Tam Nakano, the champion, both white belt and red belt, but she's defending the Wonder of Stardom, the white belt here, against Mirai for the Wonder of Stardom champion. My only question, though, is, if Mirai thought she could beat Tam in a match, why wouldn't she say, because she had the Cinderella title, which means she can pick the belt and match. She picked the white belt, not the red. But if she thought she could beat Tam, why wouldn't she go for the bigger championship? I'm kind of confused. But anyway, she goes for the white belt. Solid Mirai chant to start from the crowd. They had a great stare down and went straight into really stiff forearm shots. I mean, Mirai beat the hell out of Tam against the ropes. At this point, the ref tries to stop them, like counting Mirai. Mirai turns around, grabs the ref, and throws him across the ring and just keeps beating on Tam. The ref tries again. She throws the ref again. Then the ref gets between them, but this lets Tam take over the match. Her utter dislike and contempt for Mirai was showing kind of early. This match was great. She worked Mirai over against a ring post, running knees, wrenching her neck. They brawled on the ramp at one point. Mirai had a reverse STO. Tam a violet shooting. Mirai had a huge lariat on the ramp. Tam caught Mirai in a rope jump at one point to an elevated German. These are just some highlights. This match went on for I think 22 minutes and change. Mirai choke slammed Tam off the top rope. And by this, I mean, they were standing caddy cornered on the top rope, like not on the turnbuckle, but one person was standing on the ropes next to each side of the turnbuckle, and she choke slammed her off from there. It was really cool. Tam nailed the violet screwdriver. Oh, what happened was, Mirai got the Miramare on Tam for quite a while, and Tam's taped up left arm. The Miramare is a Kimura lock, and she got it on her for quite a while, and Tam had to fight, and then that became the story at that point, because Tam's arm was not functioning properly. So even when she hit the violet screwdriver, she couldn't get the pin on her because her arm was messed up, so Mirai was able to kick out of it. The end came, though, when Mirai kicked out of a tiger suplex at 1. And again, the tiger suplex uses a double underhook. Arm's not there. So Mirai was able to kick out at 1. And it was all brilliantly, like the psychology in this match was great. And then hits a series of big lariats, a diving crossbody, and the Miramare shock for 3. Great emotion in this match. An absolutely amazing match. I mean, like I said, you're talking about these. these are the kind of matches that you just absolutely have to see. It was so well done. Mirai is the new wonder of Stardom Championship. I mean, she lost the tag belts recently, but now brings the white belt to God's Eye. Big day for God's Eye. They get the white belt and Saki Kashima. So Mirai offers her hand to Tam after the match, but Tam just grabs the belt around Mirai's waist and uses it to help herself up, says something to her, and leaves. But Mirai celebrates with the belt and then goes back. But that wasn't the main event, even though this would be, I would say, I would probably give this like 4.75 stars. Really solid match. Highly recommended. Match of the night on this show. Definitely. But then we get Natsupoi taking on Soriano in an Indian strap match. And they decided to put this last. They open with a video recap of the press conference. And for those of you who don't, like, the story is everything in this match. If you don't know the story, this match is just a strap match. But Natsupoi and Sari debuted on the same day together 8 years ago. Natsupoi said in the press conference that no one knows her from when she was a teenager in the entertainment industry. Remember, we were talking about people to start off in the there you go. Entertainment industry before pro wrestling, except Sari. When Sari came to Stardom, she says, I was smiling all the time. I thought we were fine. Right. And just like this. And Sayori then says to her, I want to fight you, Natsupoi. No, it would be lame. There is no one I don't want to lose. Natsupoi says, no, that'd be lame. There's no one I don't want to lose to more than Sayori. Yes, that's a double negative. She goes, basically, she says, she's kind of like, she always compared herself to Sayori. And she always felt lacking against Suri. So she doesn't want this like vicious, jealous side of her to come out. She doesn't want to have to fight her, right? And she just wants to stay the way they are. But Suri's like, I can't stay the way I am. I came here to shine brighter. I've been watching you shine brighter and brighter all these years, but I want to get there too. I'm on my own path. I need to move forward too. I don't want to just be comfortable with you. Right. So anyway, they go back and forth a bit like this, right? Sarah's saying things like, I even muted you on Twitter because you were just so like thing when you were in Stardom, right? Like just I could see how much you're gaining in popularity and blah, blah, blah. Right. So there's like a lot of jealousy between them and stuff. And so, she says to her, because Natsupoi originally denied the match. She's like, you're so lame. I didn't know you were weak. That's why you can't beat me. And that finally cracks Natsupoi. She agreed to the match and like hit her with her pad of paper because this was when her voice was out and she was writing things on it, Sammy Guevara style. And then, Ogawa makes it an Indian strap match. And Natsupoi immediately goes, can we call it a fairy strap match? And he's like, no, it's an Indian strap match. But then we get other moments too with Saori choking Natsupoi down with a mic cord after a match, and Natsupoi choking down Saori with a belt backstage. And this all leads to this match. They were fastened together by the strap at the wrist. So, it's basically they're chained together, but with a strap. The rule is you have to pin the opponent and then touch all four corners. If you don't get to all four corners before you're interrupted, you'll have to pin your opponent again. Right. So it was pretty cool. This was violent. There was a lot of violent use of the strap. Saori took Natsupoi off the turnbuckle using the strap wrapped around her throat to throw her, whipping her into chairs in the audience with the strap wrapped around her neck. Natsupoi returning the favor. Saori used the strap to repeatedly pull Natsupoi into the ring post at one point. I mean, Natsupoi fought like hell. She got a pin on a Mahastral but couldn't get to the four corners. She tied Saori up in the strap at one point and hit a German with her wrapped up in the strap so she couldn't possibly move. And then couldn't get to all four corners again, right? Saori then bent Natsupoi backwards over a turnbuckle, choking her with the strap. She then choked her out in the ring with a figure four neck lock with the strap around her neck. But rather than pin her, she pulled her up and slapped her and woke her up. This got into this exchange of German suplexes that was nuts. They just went back and forth, German, like back and forth, right? But then Saori finally hit the locomotion Germans for a 2 count. Then picks her up, puts her in a spinning net breaker for 3, and made it to all four corners, beating Natsupoi in the Indian strap match. Natsupoi's crying. Sarah gets a mic, and this is where it gets really good still. She goes Natsumi because she refuses to call her Natsupoi. She calls her Natsumi. We're stupid. How much we don't want to lose to each other, right? We're really stupid. So what do? Continue at odds, and Natsupoi's mad at herself for coming up short again. She says, they were so corrected, we couldn't break apart. You'll always be my rival. And Saori says, that's good. Don't disrespect Soriano. And Natsupoi says, don't disrespect Natsupoi. And Saori turns and goes, thank you, Natsupoi. And this stops. Like the whole thing stops. And Natsupoi's like, wait, She said, Natsupoi. And she gets this like giant grin on her face, right? And she's like, and Suri turns away, is ignoring her and calls Tam in the ring, right? And then she says to Tam, I'm sorry, I've been selfish. And Tam's like, will you continue to be in Cosmic Angels? And Suri says, you guys are the best, but with me, you shine even better. So she agrees to stay in. Natsupoi is like grinning like a fool. Yuna Mizumori then suggests they should all dance together because, of course, that's what Cosmic Angels
Yep.
does, right? So Tam asks what the hell she's doing, but she continues and the music starts. So Yuna helps Natsupoi and Suri up. It takes them a minute, giving their injuries. Like Tam's still hurting from the previous match, but Suri gave a half-hearted attempt at the dance, right? But yeah, it was pretty great. And Suri actually, what I noticed as well is that she gives the fox sign, right? And like she used to use Baby Metal as her theme song, Megitsune, and which means female fox, and she gave the fox sign during this too. So makes sense because she is kind of a Megitsune. Also, great song, but great match, not as good as the one before it, and it suffered from Will and Kenny syndrome.
There you
They
go.
put this on after Tam and Mirai. The crowd was drained after the emotion of that match and weren't quite as into this match as they could have been had this match been before it. So I think it suffered a little from that too, but I would easily give this 4.25. It was great. And the emotion at the end and seeing them all come together, it's kind of interesting. We've had 2 pay-per-views in a row where the team didn't break apart. It ended up getting back together again, right? Stronger than it was before, except Utami left to go on her little hiatus. But we'll see what happens with Queen's Quest after that. Anyway, that was Stardom's Mid-Summer Champions. We have the 5-star Grand Prix starting soon, which is where you get some of the best wrestling on the face of the planet in any federation, group, league, whatever the heck you want to call them, anywhere. So 5-star Grand Prix, going to be awesome. We should really watch the opening pay-per-view together.
When is it?
I'll have to look, but it's July 22nd, maybe.
Okay,
I think that's right. Anyway, I will let you know, but I will because it was the 5-star Grand Prix that got me into Stardom last year. So there you go. Anyway, that is Stardom this week. I will be back next week, of course, with more Stardom news, and probably some New Japan news since the G1 starting. But this brings us to our matches and wrestlers of the week. What's your match of the week this week, Krishna?
My match of the week, I mean, I'm still going to give it to Yuta versus Omega, but I have to give some praise to that tag match on Collision, Bullet Club Gold versus FDR, because that match was actually a lot of fun and very well put together. But overall, like, I mean, I don't bet against Kenny Omega and even the trios match on Rampage, right? Like those are some great matches this week for AEW. But it's just, watching Yuta go one-on-one with Omega, like this kid is good. Like he has no fear. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think this was great. Sucks that he got injured in the match, but again, when Takeshita showed up, I was like, oh my God, Kenny, you're dead. Like this, you're just dead. This guy's gonna kill you, right? I'm gonna start chanting like Takeshita's gonna kill you now, not Joe anymore. But yeah, no, I thought it was a great match. So I'm giving it my match of the week.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Really good match. I, of course, will be giving my match of the week to Tam Nakano and Mirai. That was a freaking great match. All the emotion in the world. It's what I love about Stardom. It's the stories. It's the emotions. It's, Dave Meltzer made a really good observation in his newsletter this week about the cage match that I talked about last week from the June 25th pay-per-view, where, Saya and Utami had their thing, and, they came out of it with Queen's Quest together. He goes, he says people are, and he gave that match 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he said people were talking about it as a 5-star, and he could understand that completely. Right. And he goes, the biggest difference will be people who are Stardom fans and know the storyline are going to love this match. And people who have no idea what's going on will look at it and go, well, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong, right? Because I mean, the big moments in this match were because we knew Queen's Quest was in imminent danger of breaking up. And we were all waiting for a turn or something like that just didn't happen. And they ended up staying together. And that moment at the end, right? I mean, it's just so emotional and so powerful. But if you hadn't known the months leading up to it, he's right. So anyway, but no, that is my match. Tam Nakano and Mirai. It was freaking amazing. Mariah's white belt champion is going to be very interesting. It's about damn time she won something that wasn't just, tag belts, to be quite honest. So I think this will be really interesting to see what she does. She's got a bit of that white bread babyface complex where, she's full of heart and full of soul. And people make fun of her promos because of it, like to her face. Tam Nakano will tell her how boring she is and stuff like this. So, it's kind of like Jungle Boy,
I get it.
So yeah. Except she has a little more fire in her, I think. But yeah, it's interesting. God's Eye is doing well this year. So yeah, except Shuri got pinned by Mina Shirakawa during the pay-per-view, and like that never happens. Shuri doesn't get pinned. That's huge for Mina. All right. Oh, and Xena, by the way, has now officially left Stardom for a while. So Cosmic Angels is just down to Mina Shirakawa, Waka Tsukiyama, and Mariah May. 3 members. Anyway, that is my match of the week. Wrestler of the week?
Kenny Omega, obviously. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Is there any doubt?
Was there any doubt that it was going to be Kenny Omega? Like, again, credit to selling that injury, playing up the whole Will Ospreay Tiger Driver 91, like doing the you can't escape, and then barely getting it because his head was hurting him. I thought like this is great. And then Yuta attacking it. Everything he was doing was attacking that head. I'm like, great guys, awesome. So yeah, Kenny Omega, like this, so good.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's great. Not my wrestler of the week, but he's great. I am so torn this week, right? Because there were just so many amazing performances in that Stardom pay-per-view. It's just like Mirai, right? Tam, Natsupoi, sorry. I mean, and that's just the 4, right? I mean, I almost want to give it to Saki Kashima just because she's awesome. But I gotta give it to Tam as a slight edge out, and here's why. Now, she didn't keep her title, but it was the way she set the match up, right? The selling of her arm was so good, right? The minute she came out of that Miramari, right? It was like she was just clutching the arm. Everything she did was going back to the arm, right? She couldn't get her pins because of the arm, right? Like she's got that level of selling that's Kenny Omega level ability to sell an injury, right? Like just affects everything in the match after that. Couldn't get pins on her simply because her arm was like not functioning properly. It was so good, right? And her emotion on her face, and then when she was back in the ring with Sarah in them, right? And calling out, what the hell are you doing? Dancing now? But anyway, it was pretty great. So yeah, Tam, and I mean, shout out to Natsupoi for her emotion in her match too. And like it just, yeah. Anyway, so good. So many good matches. Stardom is just incredible. But yeah, Tam Nakano will be my wrestler of the week.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. For how many times has she been my wrestler of the week now? I mean, it's
a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a few. Anyway, it'd be interesting to go back and see how many times I've named a Stardom wrestler as my wrestler of the week. But anyway, that though does bring our show to an end for this week. We will be back on Wednesday as always with our AEW Dynamite prediction and review. But until then, as the great one who has apparently wrestled 160 matches in Krishna's game always says, goodbye, everybody, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.